Hello, welcome to my channel about 8JJ8 Crafts. Today I am going to make a shelf out of foam board. Just regular old foam board. I got it from the Dollar General. As you can see, I used a ruler and I traced out all of my lines and the dimensions already. In the description box I am going to put a link to the video where I learned how to do this, because it was really pretty cool, and his version is much simpler than what I'm gonna try to do. So if you're interested in a simple shelf made out of foam board, for I'm gonna use one for, I'm gonna make a couple of these. I'm gonna use some for my card decks, and I'm gonna use some to put my acrylic paints on, and maybe other art supplies. But I guess I will get started on this. I'm just gonna chop it up. I got this X-Acto knife also from the Dollar General. Okay, got the pieces chopped. The diagram I will put here for the dimensions for your shelf, or I guess kind of like the instructions. He was saying for each wall or each row that you want to put, you could put as many rows as you want. Mine's only going to be 3 rows because the shelf that I'm going to put it on to replace this desk in this corner is, the top is only 7 inches. So I made my base 7 inches wide and 12 inches across. He was saying you go up by 3 inches for each row that you add. So where are you? This is going to be my first wall. My second wall, this is 2 inches. So my second wall is going to be 3 more, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. It's going to be the next one. The next one will be 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure why he put 9 for the next wall, but he did. It was only needing to be 3 inches. So I might trim that down because it seems a little long. I might trim it down to 8. And then the last wall will be, I think his math was off because 9, 10, 11, the last one was 11. So it'll be kind of like that. He put his together using pins, so he didn't need any glue, he didn't need any other supplies other than pins and foam board. I'm going to glue it together using this Clear Grip Gorilla Glue. I grabbed this other piece so that I could glue on top of it without ruining my desk. I labeled each one. I put what it was going to be used for in the corner so I wouldn't mix them up. After I cut my base piece out, I measured how thick each section was going to be, and I cut out 2 rows. So after I measured it, I cut some pieces that'll fit in there, in between each layer. The first one you don't need one of these four. So you only need one for the second row because it's going to be elevated, and the third row because it's going to be a little bit more elevated. So now I messed up. I grabbed the 5 and I cut an inch off of that one instead of grabbing the 9 and cutting an inch off of that one. So I'm going to cut 2 inches off of my 9 since this is now 4. Cut another inch off of it, and then I'll do the same to the 11. Wasn't paying attention. Gotta pay attention. Oh, I also trimmed a little bit more off of this one because it was much higher and I couldn't. I needed them to all be evenish. So right now I'm just measuring how high I want the shelf to be so that I can have it even across. Okay, so this has been drying since yesterday. I'm going to put tape masking tape to cover all the edges. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of these extra pieces that I had and cut some sides for my box. Okay, so the sides have done drying. I accidentally erased the part of the video where I put the sides on and put these pins in. So I put the sides on and it wasn't staying where I wanted it to dry. So I ran to the store and I grabbed some of these pins and just stuck them in there to hold it in place. So now I'm just going to take out these pins. Alright, so I just cut each wall or each section to be level with the tier on each one. It's kind of hard to see because it's too bright, I think. I kind of messed up on this side. Right here I had an extra little piece, and right here I just glued them on. You won't be able to tell really once I put the tape over it. And I'm going to just take my little X-Acto knife thing, and I'm going to trim around all of the edges, and I'm going to trim off this excess to take all the glue off, and so that I'll have a smooth surface to put the masking tape on. Okay, I got it all how I wanted it, as straight as I could. I'm going to now tape all of the edges with masking tape. Alright, it said equal parts of glue and water. I already have water in here. Just a big jug of school glue. Alright, and I have these strips of paper. All it is the packing from my packages. That way I don't get my desk all gluey. Alright, you just dip it in. Maybe that's too much glue. Maybe not. Not sure. You just lay them on your shelf thingy. Okay, so I have let it sit to dry so that I could do the other side. I didn't want to set the wet side down on the paper because, you know, it's glue. Didn't want it to stick. Okay, I'm just going to let this finish drying, and once it's done drying, we will put the plaster on it. Okay, so it is dry now, and this thing is like so sturdy. Very durable, very sturdy. Set that there. I have this little bucket with some water in it. Plaster of Paris. Okay, it's like about cake batter consistency, I guess, or pancake batter. I've got this big brush. Alright, I am done putting the plaster on it. I feel like by the time I figured out how to use it, I was almost done. But, so I'm just going to let this dry and then sand it. Whenever I made it, some parts it started crumbling, so I ended up putting it on real thick. I had to go turn off the sink. I ended up putting it on real thick in some areas, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of sanding in order to even it out the way that I would like to. But yeah, here we are. It's looking good. It's actually kind of heavy, kind of heavy-ish. Heavier than I expected it to be. It's actually also thicker than I expected it to be. The next time I make one though, I kind of have an idea how to use the plaster now, so it probably won't be quite as thick and chunky. But yeah, I guess we're experimenting here. So if you think this seems difficult because you've never used plaster before, then you could do it, because I haven't used plaster really, except for the other art picture on my profile, the first video that I posted. That was the first time that I tried using plaster. This would be the second time to make this shelf. So I'm sure you could do it. I believe in you. Anyways, I will be back once this is dry. Okay guys, so it is dry now. It actually feels lighter than it did when it was wet. It's really not very heavy. So the way that I put the plaster on the inside, I think I put it on too thick and it was too moist. So as you can see, it's kind of cracked in there. I feel like it's kind of hard to see because the light's too bright. So I believe what I'm going to do with that, to fix it, is I have this air dry clay that I got, and I'm gonna mix some of it with, I'm just gonna mix a little bit with some water to make it kind of pasty, and then I'm just going to fill in all the cracked spaces. And then there was this space, this spot down here where I touched it to pick it up, and I made some little dents. So I will be doing that once I'm done sanding it, and I will show you the process for that part. Also, before I start sanding it, all these chunks, let's see if I could get it in a good view for you guys. These chunks right here that are sticking out. Let's see if I flip it around this way. Yeah. You see how that edge just like sticks out? Because I put it on a big chunk right there. A big blob. I'm gonna shave these away with a knife, a sharp knife, and probably like along the edge and these other big chunks to make it easier to sand, so that it won't be as much sanding work all along the top edge. Yeah, some of those pieces that weren't on properly are kind of falling off, like the pieces that were sticking out, like the chunks. It's pretty solid filling though. like I'm gonna wish that I had a sanding tool, like a mechanical, like an electrical one, while I am sanding this thing. But I have this sanding sponge that I got from the dollar store. I think it was like $1.25. I'm just gonna sand it all so that all of the lines and the creases will go away. Make it all nice and smooth. See, that's already made quite a huge difference. Just from that little bit. So maybe it won't be as difficult as I think. So anyways, I'm going to get started on that. I'm going to shut off the camera while I sand it all down, and I'll be back whenever it's done. See you later. Okay, so I have finished sanding as much as I wanted to, and this is how it looks now. Let me turn down the light so you guys can see it better. I didn't want to go too shallow on the sides, so what I decided to do is make up some more plaster instead of using the modeling clay, so that I could cover all of the little uneven indents on everywhere, and then afterwards I'll sand it again. And we'll let it dry, and we'll see what it looks like after that. So we should get started on that. This was a very messy job. My pants are so white. They were blue, and now they're white. It's not that dry inside of the bucket. I'm not sure why it's behaving that way on the box. Maybe I need to moisten it some more. Try to scrape some of this off. So apparently I thought I was going to just cover up little patches, but I ended up re-plastering the whole thing. But I did a thinner layer this time and sort of a smoother layer. It was a lot easier to work with this time. So I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm gonna sand it, and then I'll be back. Okay, so it is dry. I've sanded it down to nice and smooth. There's still some little areas on the side that didn't quite smooth out flat, and the inside where I had put the plaster, it didn't want to stay. It was still very soft. I'm not sure why in the corner it stayed so soft. Maybe it just needed to sit longer, dry longer. I'm not sure. But I guess this is how it is going to be. So this is my little mixture of air dry clay and some water. I just put it in there and it got nice and soft and pasty around the edges. It's just, I haven't completely mixed it. I wanted the middle to stay clumpy paste so that I could use bigger chunks. And then for areas where I just need a little bit of lighter touch up, I could use the watery spot, the watery area. I'm just gonna go over this in the areas where it has little indentions. These are little cake decorating tools that I picked up for working with fondant, and they work also for working with clay pretty well, I think. So I'm just using bigger chunks of clay to smush into deeper spaces so that, just because it would be easier than trying to fill it with so much paste. And I kind of feel like because the paste is so moist that it would crack more. This is probably going to crack as it dries because it shrinks and it's on this solid foundation. So as it's drying, I will probably touch it up a little bit and wet it with the, go over it with the brush just a little bit. Alright, I think I've gotten it as patched up as I want it, as I like it. I didn't worry too much about the bottom and the back, since you won't really be able to see them. But I'm just going to let the front part dry, and then I'm going to sand out these little patches that I made, and little repair spots. And after that, I guess it will be time for painting. Okay, so I finished sanding as much as I wanted to. I probably could have done a better job, but it was a lot of work. The inside, I got tired of the chunks falling out, so I just covered it with some tacky glue. And where I was holding it a little too aggressively, like the corner where I put that clay on the corner, it had come off, and I just glued it back on in this spot too. What I am going to do next is I am going to just cover it all in Mod Podge. Alright, so I'm just letting this dry. I forgot my shelf came in. I spent the day putting it together, or after work, pretty much the whole evening. This is what it looks like. It's an L-shape desk. This little stand I am going to put in this area somewhere for my cards, and I was going to make more to put my art stuff, my acrylics, on this side, but since it has a pegboard, I probably won't need to make more. I might make one more for my cards, because I do have a lot, but I don't know, hopefully it comes out much easier this second time around. So it's almost dry. I guess I'll just let it sit a little while longer and let it dry, and then we will paint it whenever we come back. Alright, so it is nice and dry, ready to paint. I went and got some black paint today. Phew. Well. And well again. I knew I should get a mat for underneath my chair, since I just got a new rug. And it's like light purple, so this black is like really gonna stick out on it. Okay, so I have finished the first layer of black paint. So after this is done drying, I'm going to go over it again. And then I am not sure if it's going to be done or if I'm going to decorate it. So I guess we'll see. Okay, so it is dry. I did the second coat and feels a little stuck. Hopefully don't peel the paint off. Alright, we're safe. So I did the second coat and I painted the bottom and I've let it dry. So now I got this Deco Podge mat. I'm going to cover the whole outside of it to seal the paint. I will get started on that. Okay, so I have finished painting it, and I've kind of was going over the drippy looking areas and smoothing them out as it dries, so it doesn't have like all kinds of lines on it from the glue sealer. I decided that I am not going to decorate it at this time, because I want to make that second shelf, and after I make that second shelf I would like to decorate them both at the same time. I'm not quite sure how I want to decorate them yet. So I guess I'm going to let this finish drying and smoothing it out, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's done. Hello guys. So I let it dry and it's all finished. I actually quite like the way that it came out. I think it looks really nice. I like the way that the paint dried on it too. I like that it's not as perfect as I wanted it to come out, because I feel like it has this kind of vibe to it. I don't know how to explain, but I really like it. And voila! It's perfect. Came out very nice. Well, thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you subscribe, and I hope that I see you next time. Bye-bye.